So it's about time I made some meringue again, I think. So I'm going to make some, well actually the recipe comes from Cup-Cake Jemma again, and she calls them Circus rainbow marshmallow meringue. Okay, because the meringue's got a hidden marshmallow and we're going to colour it, and like she says, it looks very reminiscent of the old-fashioned circus tent, but you'll see about that when we come to it. So we're going to use the stand mixer, okay, and I've given the bowl and the whisk a good old degrease with some spirit vinegar. Okay, now with this one we want twice the amount of sugar as there is egg white, so I've weighed out 4 egg whites, okay, and I think it came to about 148 grams or something, okay, and so because obviously eggs vary in size, rather than just say 4 egg whites, this amount of sugar, weigh your egg whites and then double that figure, and that's how much sugar you want. So I've got that weighed out. Need a little bit of vanilla extract, I've got that there ready to go. Obviously a piping bag, we want some colours, I've got some food colours and some little mini marshmallows. But to start with, we're going to start obviously making the meringue. So my egg whites have gone in there, and what we do is we start this on a nice low speed, and we don't want to stress them egg whites, okay. We need to gradually build up a bit of foam, okay, and we're just going to keep it on low, and we just let it turn. It'll start looking like it's getting bubbly, and then it'll turn more into a foam. When we've got it into a nice firm foam, we can start increasing the speed a little bit, or rather just before it gets to that, to get it to nice firm foam. So just going to leave this running away. Like I said, piping bag, you want a wide nozzle. I didn't have a wide nozzle, so I've just trimmed the end off the bag. Okay, I've got 6 different gel colours or pastes. Okay, and obviously I've got baking trays with a liner on. I've got my silicone liners, or you can just stick down some parchment paper. So we'll just leave this running, and I'll come up to you, we'll come back to you when we're ready to start adding the sugar in. Right, so I can't really show you, but it's nice and quiet and white and foamy now, sort of starting to peak a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it back up to medium towards high, and then that sugar, which is getting on for about 300 grams because of the amount of egg whites I've got, I'm going to gradually feed that in, spoon by spoon, whisking it. We don't want to shove all the sugar in one hit because it won't dissolve properly and knock all that air out. So get it back up. So I'm just going to gradually feed in that sugar, a little bit at a time, and then once that's all in there, we'll leave it running on that speed for 5 minutes. Right, that hasn't had 5 minutes yet, but it is getting quite white, glossy. So all I'm going to do now is I'm just going to take a little dab of it, and that does feel a little bit gritty, and that means that the sugar hasn't really dissolved, so it probably does want the full 5 minutes. So we'll put it back on, and we'll check it in a couple of minutes. Right, so that's done now. So all I'm going to do now is I'll add a little dash of vanilla extract, and then we'll just whisk that for a couple more minutes. I mean, that's a bit optional, the vanilla, but anyway, we'll whisk this again for a couple more minutes to get that all mixed in, and then we'll be ready to start pairing our piping bag. Alright, I've just moved the stand mixer out of the way for the moment because we're going to do our bag. So like I said, we want quite a wide nozzle, didn't have one, so I've just cut the end off the bag. And what we want to do now is turn the bag inside out part of the way, but we want to open that bag up enough that I can paint these stripes into it. Okay, so then we'll also need a long paintbrush, so I might have to pop that down a little bit more, I think. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to paint stripes into the inside of that bag. Okay, so this will be sort of a little bit of a tricky bit, because obviously I've got to try and keep them stripes separate from each other. Okay, might be I don't get to use all 6 given the size of my bag. Okay, you do want a large bag for this, and so all I'm going to do is I'm going to take each colour and I'm just going to paint a streak of colour. I can't get all the way to the end, but we accept that we're going to lose a little bit of meringue, but you'll see once I've painted it. So there's my bag, and I don't know where you can see that. I've put some streaks of colour in there, and now I'm just going to add in the meringue, and obviously I've got to be a little bit careful how I get this in there, because we don't want to mess up them stripes more than we have to. We also don't want to knock too much air out, so I'm just going to carry on filling this up, and then, like I say, I've already got my trays ready to go, or you know, my baking trays with my mats on. All we're going to need to do is, once we've got the piping bag ready, is we're going to need to add some marshmallows, but I'll show you that when we come to that. So give it a bit of a shake down, okay, and then all I'm going to do is just twist that off, and we're just going to put that to one side for the moment whilst I prepare the trays. So on the trays, what I'm going to do is I'm going to place a little mini marshmallow. I'm not using the guidelines on here because I need to space them about 3.5 inches apart. Okay, but I'm just obviously using them circles as a little bit of a guide. So I get these all placed, and then we can start piping, and I'll show you how we're going to pipe it. Okay, once I've got that tray ready. So I take my bag, and now first off I might just want to squeeze a bit from the top out until we start seeing that colour coming through, which is just starting to do now. So what I do is I hold it about 1 inch above the marshmallow, start squeezing till it goes out and round, and then I'll just pull up. So this will encase the marshmallow. Whoops, that one wants to be a bit awkward. And then we just pull up to get our little spike on top. And you can see here how the colour's getting quite intense. Now I've got my oven preheating up at 100, and then we're going to bake them in there for about 30-35 minutes, but essentially we keep doing it until they lift off the baking mat, because they're dry underneath. So obviously I've got my other tray to do, and I'll show you once we get them out the oven. So here you go, there's our little Circus meringue with a little marshmallow surprise inside. Still a bit warm, but nice and crisp on the outside, sort of moist if you like in the inside. So we haven't thoroughly dried all that out. And what I've also noticed is obviously the marshmallow starting to melt as well. So you've got that melted marshmallow in there. Obviously we're going to let these cool, but there you go, your Circus rainbow marshmallow meringues.